All right. So we are still on marketing, and our focus today will be on pricing. And these are our learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, the students should be able to explain pricing. You should be able to state and explain the factors affecting pricing. And also you should be able to explain the pricing policies. Okay. All right. First and foremost, let's look at the definition of price. When we say price, what is price? So price is the amount of money charged for a product or a service. So when you get to a shop and you say, "Oh, madam, what's the price of this?" You're asking for the amount of money at which the product can be bought. Okay. Then when we talk about pricing, we are talking about the process involved. Okay. So pricing is a process whereby a business sets the price at which it will sell its products or services. That is what pricing is. Okay. So we will move on straight to the factors to consider when setting prices. The factors to consider. You don't just stand up and say, "Oh, the company is mine," or "All I want is profit. So I just want to set any form of price." No, there are factors that ought to be considered before you do that. Okay. One, we are saying that what is the marketing objective? The marketing objective. That is one. Now, your objective can be that, okay, I want to maximize profit as much as possible. That is what your focus is. I want to maximize profit. So if your aim is to maximize profit, then that means in setting the price for your product or your service, it means you are going to increase the price. Okay, because when you increase it, definitely your return will also be more. Okay, so when your objective is to increase or maximize profit, then that means automatically in fixing your price, you need to increase the price for the product. Okay. And also when your objective is, I don't want to maximize profit. For now, what I want to do is I want a lot of people to get to know of my product. Okay, so I want to increase my market share. Okay, if your main focus is to increase the market share, then it will be prudent that you reduce the price. Okay, it means you don't have to increase because you know the law of demand. Okay, you are economic student. Okay, but if you want to go to the first alternative, that is to maximize profit, then it is likely that the product is new in the system. Okay, because if the product has a lot of alternatives that consumers can switch to, then if you increase it, nobody will buy. Okay, so if your focus is to maximize profit, then one, the assumption is that the product must be new in the system. A lot of people haven't heard about it, and probably there are no competitors. You get it? So when it happens like that, definitely people may buy. You get it? So these are some few things you need to consider before you increase the price. That is, if your focus is to maximize profit, your objective comes to play. All right. Then two, costs. Costs. So when we're talking about costs, we are talking about the costs involved in production. The costs involved in production. Okay. Definitely. Um, Even when we're preparing the cost sheet, costing student, we're preparing cost sheet. before you add your profit margin, you need to know the total cost that has been incurred in producing the product. Okay, it is after that you can decide to add your profit margin. Okay, so most of what's happening is that you don't just stand up to fix the price. No, you must do some basic calculation. How much have I incurred in producing this product? Okay, then okay, how much do I have to sell it? So most often, if your cost of production is high, then at the end of the day, the burden will be shifted to consumers. Okay, then automatically the cost of your product or the selling price is going to be quite high. Okay, which maybe is not a result of yours. Okay, but because of the cost of production. So that is also one of the things that ought to be considered. Okay, aside that, also we are saying that probably the cost at which the product was sold to you, okay, by your suppliers. So if your suppliers supply the goods at a higher cost, it is going to influence your pricing policy. Okay, because probably maybe your supplier is not even in Ghana, it's outside the country. So shipping costs may have to be added, probably storage costs, etc., before finally delivering the products to you. So in fixing the selling price for the product, all this will have to influence the price at which the product will be sold. All right, I will make room for questions now before I proceed. So if you have any question or questions, you may ask before I proceed. All right, then let's move on to the third factor that ought to be considered when setting price for a product. The third one has to do with customer demand. Customer demand. Now, before you finally decide on the price at which the product should be sold, you need to consider your customers. Okay, you need to consider your customers. Okay, first, which kind of people do I intend selling the products to? Okay, all right, would they be able to buy it if I sell it at this price, or they wouldn't? And now, also in determining or fixing a price under this same factor, you need to consider whether the product is elastic or inelastic. And you are all good students of economics, so I would like to hear from you guys. When we say a product is elastic or inelastic, what does it mean? When we say a product is elastic or inelastic?
Raised, it can be increased,
Mm-hmm.
and consumers will still buy uh, the product.
All right, all right.
But
Is it yeah?
elastic, when a little amount is added,
Mhm.
is it correct?
Oh yeah, that's the explanation for the inelastic. Okay, yes. So the vice or the opposite goal for the elastic. Okay, so as he said, okay, it means that that's when we say a product is inelastic, it means that irrespective of how the price changes, whether it has been increased or decreased, okay, definitely the demand remains the same. Okay, the demand will surely remain the same. So, and basically, some of these products has to do with necessities. You get it? Yes, because you need it. So whether the price has been increased or decreased, definitely your demand remains constant. Okay. Yes. So usually what they do is that when they realize that, oh, okay, the product is inelastic, okay, then they will, okay, no matter what, no matter what the price is, definitely they will buy. You get it? So some businesses decide to use that as a strategy to make a lot of profit. Okay. So if the demand for the product is inelastic, you can decide to fix a high price for it, and then you'll be able to make your return, because definitely they will purchase it. But if the product is elastic, okay, then the moment you increase the price, definitely some of your customers will have to run to your competitors, okay, because your competitors are also offering the same or similar products or services. Okay, so why are you increasing yours? Okay, then I will shift my attention to substitutes. You get it? So in fixing prices for a product, this has to be considered. Okay, then let's move on to the fourth factor. The fourth factor, which is competition. Competition. In fixing your selling price for a product, you need to also look at your competitors. Okay, you need to study them before finally deciding on the price at which a product will be sold. You get me? Because now your competitors are also offering similar service or the same services. Okay, so if you are about to price or fix a price for a product or a service, you need to think, oh, okay, do I have to increase it, or do I have to decrease it, or even fix the same price as which they are selling their product? What must I do? Most often, what some businesses do is, if their competitors are selling the product at a higher price, in order to switch the attention of other consumers to their product, they'll decide to reduce it. Okay, so if you've studied the market, or if you study your competitors, realize that they are selling it at 5 Ghana cedis. If I sell it at 6 Ghana cedi, will they buy? Most often, most people wouldn't like to go for the 6 cedis, no, because there's someone who is also offering the same service, unless probably you might be adding something so unique that is different. Okay, but these are people who are offering the same product or similar product or services. So most often, in order to attract more consumers to your product or service, it is prudent that you reduce your price. So in fixing your price, you can decide to even set the price to be at par, okay, with their prices. That is to be the same. So if company A is selling it for 5 Ghana cedi, I may decide to also decide to sell it at 5 Ghana cedi. Okay, but what are you do you want to increase your market share? Do you want to make a lot of sales? Okay, if that is the case, then it is also good that you reduce your price. Okay, because more rational consumers would like to go in for the lower price. Okay, after all, they are getting the same satisfaction, okay, for the product, the same what company A is getting, that's what they're also offering. Okay, just that mine is at a lower price. Okay, so that is it. So when we're talking about factors that ought to be considered when fixing prices, these are some of them. Okay, please, if there is any question, you may ask before we proceed. Explain
Explain
which one
first.
first. All right. Let's hear you.
So you said when uh, okay, cost includes the production, example like the items that is used to produce the products, and the storing, the stocking, and the selling, etc.
So how would these factors influence the selling price? How would they influence the selling price?
So when the cost that you use to do the make the product is high, then that's when your price to become high, like to get profit from the this thing.
Okay, pricing policies. All right. So we'll be looking at some policies as far as pricing is concerned. Okay. All right. Uh, the first one, there are many. Okay. We'll look at them one after the other, and then I'll give you some reading assignments on other policies also. Okay. Um, Now, the first one price policy. One price policy. I think the name is explanatory. The word itself is self explanatory. One price policy. So, what happens here is that this is where the same product, okay, or the same service is rendered to people at one price, okay, or at the same price. So, now if the thing is two Ghana cities, okay, it means irrespective of people from different economic backgrounds or whatsoever, you are going to sell the product at that same price to each of them. Okay, so it is like a fixed price for everybody. So if Koju Menu is paying two Ghana cedis, Ama Yamansa, who is also a billionaire, will also pay two Ghana cedis. That is how the one price policy works. Okay, then the second one, we have the flexible price policy. Flexible price policy. So the flexible price policy is just like the opposite of the first one. That's the one price policy. Okay. So here with the flexible, price is not so fixed. Okay, for everybody. So probably you can sell the same product under the same condition. You can sell it to Kojo Menu at two Ghana cedis and sell it to Abina at two Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. And this depends on some factors. Okay, such as one, maybe um, it depends on the personal relationship between the customer. Probably the person whom you sold the goods to at two Ghana cedi, he's been your customer for a long time, and also probably he buys on a large scale. You get it? So you may decide that, oh, okay, I will sell it at two Ghana cedi for you. Okay, but you sold that same product to someone else at two Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. You get it? That is why we said it is a flexible pricing policy. Okay, the same price does not apply to everybody, unlike the one price policy. Okay, so when we say about the flexible, or when we talk about flexible, that is what we are talking about. Okay, the same product, but it is sold to different people at different prices. Okay, that is what the flexible pricing is. All right. Then the third one, but before the third one, please. Any question on the first two? That's the one price policy and then the flexible price policy. Any question on that one before I move on to the next one? Okay, then let's move on to the psychological pricing. So for psychological pricing, it can be explained in two different ways. Okay, now the first one, here you fix a price just to convince the customer, okay, or draw the customer's attention to the product, okay, creating the intention that, oh, it is a little bit cheaper than the original price. So let's assume if the product is 10 Ghana cedis, you may decide to sell your product at 9 Ghana cedis or 9 Ghana cedi 90 pesos. That is how it works here. Okay, so sometimes you may enter into a shop and then you see 99 Ghana cedi 90 pesos. You get it? So it's not so much vast a difference. 99 Ghana cedis 90 pesos. But just because of this little pesos that is off, you may be tempted to what? Buy it. Okay, instead of 100 cedis, they decide to do it 99 Ghana cedis 90 pesos or 99.99. You get it? That is how psychological prices looks like. Okay, so you look at it. Oh, okay, this one there, I think I'll be able to save some 10 pesos or even 1 Ghana cedi on it. You get it? That is what psychological pricing. That is how it works. Okay, then that's for the first aspect. Then the second aspect, okay, usually what happens is that the price is fixed in order to give you a form of satisfaction. Okay, and sometimes this applies to Lazarus group to some extent. So what happened is, okay, for instance, the product, you saw the product, and then they said, oh, okay, this product costs, let's say, 5,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, 5,000. You're like, oh, okay, it's 5,000 Ghana cedis. So I think this price matches the product because I think the product is going to give me the satisfaction that I want. Okay, if it is 5,000 Ghana cedis, then okay, probably it's of a good quality and is going to give me the services or the benefits that I expect from it. Okay, so because of the price, your mind says that, oh, okay, this is quite good. And at the end of the day, it is something you expect them also to tell you it costs. You get it? Yes. So that is how psychological pricing is. Okay, so first and foremost, we said one, they'll fix the price in such a way to attract to induce you. Okay, so there, the price, you realize that there is no vast difference. So as I made an example earlier, one, they make it quite to look like, oh, it is cheap or it is lower. So instead of 100 Ghana cedis, they may decide to sell it for 99 Ghana cedis. Okay, then you also be attracted to say, oh, okay, after all, this one is not even up to 10 Ghana, let me just buy it. Okay, but also the other part, there are also some that's the second aspect when it comes to psychological pricing. Sometimes you realize that, oh, okay, the price that we've given to you fits the satisfaction that will be derived from the products. Okay, and sometimes you realize that, oh, okay, since the price is this, then it is of a good quality. Okay, so you realize that the price matches the product to you. So usually it may be high, the prices may be high. Okay, that is how some people buy certain watch and tell you, hey, this one, do you know how much I bought it? Okay, that is it. Okay, please, any question on the psychological pricing? Any question on the psychological pricing? All right, then let me move on to the next pricing policy, which is the skimming pricing. Skimming pricing. Okay, so when we're talking about the skimming pricing, okay, this is where you decide, okay, or a business decides to fix a high price for their product, okay, and it must be taken into consideration that this product is new, okay. So you decide to fix a high price. The product is new in the system, so you decide to fix a high price for the product, okay. And usually this is done by the business just to make sure that, okay, this product is new and probably we are the first people bringing it on board, so let me sell it at a high cost or price so that I can be able to make enough profit before competitors set into the market. That is the rationale behind this pricing policy. Okay, so it, there are certain factors that ought to be considered. One, the product automatically ought to be new, or there must be something so different or unique about your product. Okay, so that is where you can decide to sell it at a higher price. Okay, and most often it works. Okay, it works. So because you are the first business or company bringing it to a system, you want to make enough profit as you can make before other competitors sets in to the market. Okay, and this strategy usually works for companies that are giants. Okay, who are companies that has been in the system for years, who have a goodwill. Okay, there are companies or there's any product when you mention them, a lot of people are like, oh, okay, okay, no matter what they'll buy. Okay, so usually it is a strategy that has been used by giants, companies who have been in the system for years and have proved themselves worthy. Okay, so the moment they hear it, oh, okay, it's coming from so and so, oh, then it's of a good quality, I'll buy it. Okay, so they'll be able to make enough profits before competitors may decide to even set in. Okay, so that is what the skimming pricing means. Okay, skimming pricing. And I said that this usually this strategy is usually used by or used for products that are new in the system, okay, and are so unique and of a good quality. Okay, all right. Then let's move on to the fifth pricing policy. The fifth pricing policy, and that has to do with penetration pricing. Penetration pricing. So this is also a pricing strategy that usually is being introduced by companies whose products are quite new in the system, okay, and would like to increase their market share, would like to increase sales. You get it? So they would like to make a lot of sales. So what they'll do is they will reduce the price for the product. And when the price is less, definitely the demand will be high. Okay, so with that, you realize that a lot of consumers, a lot of purchasing will be done. then you are making your profit. Okay, so that is that for the penetration. That is what we mean when we say penetration pricing. Okay, and usually most companies adopt this strategy. Okay, so they do it just to make sure that they create, people get to buy it and a lot of people get to know about the product. Then after some time they may decide to just increase the price for the product. They'll modify it a little bit and then decide to increase it. But when we're talking about penetration, you're about to enter the market, right? So you would like to bring a lot of consumers on board. Hence, you decide to reduce the price. So when we say penetration pricing policy, that is what we are talking about. Okay. All right. Now I'll make room for questions. If you have any form of question, um, you may ask concerning this. Kumi Monica, differentiate between
The,
skimming pricing and penetration pricing.
the skimming pricing is when the producers use high prices at the introductory stage, whilst penetration pricing, the producers use decreased prices at the introductory stage.
All right. Next slide. Okay. Um, this is your reading assignment. Okay. You're supposed to read on the following pricing policies: prestige pricing, markdown pricing, leader pricing, discriminatory pricing, and then competitive pricing. Okay. Do well to do that. Okay. After here, I'll forward it to the Google Classroom so that you can do that for me. All right.